Beyond Meat is doing it again. The stock is up around 90% as we move through Tuesday's session, building on the incredible surge we saw on Monday. This rally has now turned into a full-on spectacle, with traders across social media lighting up the feeds and analysts trying to make sense of what's happening. But this time, there actually is a small piece of fresh news adding fuel to the fire, and it's helping to keep this short squeeze alive. So let's break it down. Beyond Meat stock closed Monday at $1.47, up a massive 127% on the day, and then climbed another 15% in the after-hours session. Now, here we are midway through Tuesday, and the stock has exploded yet again, up around 90% at one point. The company's market cap, which just a few trading days ago was hovering around $250 million, has now nearly doubled in less than 48 hours. The first question on everyone's mind is simple: what's driving this move? Yesterday, it was almost entirely about momentum and retail sentiment, a pure short squeeze setup with very little in the way of fundamental catalysts. But today, a couple of fresh headlines have entered the mix that are helping to keep the rally alive. The first is news of an expanded distribution deal with Walmart. Beyond Meat announced that its plant-based meat products will be rolled out to more than 2,000 Walmart locations across the United States. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but for a company that's been struggling with falling sales and declining brand presence, it's the kind of update traders love to see. It gives the narrative a heartbeat, a spark that makes the squeeze feel a little more justified. The second piece of news involves Beyond Meat's addition to a meme stock-focused ETF. Now, for most companies, that wouldn't be much of a story, but in the world of speculative trading, these kinds of inclusions tend to attract algorithmic flow and retail attention. It signals to the market that Beyond Meat has rejoined the ranks of volatile, high social momentum tickers like GameStop and AMC. And once a name lands on that list, it can stay in play for quite a while. Add to that the fact that short interest remains sky high, still around 60% of the float, and you have a powder keg that's already been lit. Every tick higher forces short sellers to reassess, every retail buy adds pressure, and every new headline draws in fresh money hoping to catch the next big move. That's exactly the kind of feedback loop that turns a short squeeze into a full-blown phenomenon. Now, let's talk about what's happening technically and what to watch for as this session unfolds. Volume is through the roof once again today. We're seeing levels several times the daily average, and that's critical because it tells us this isn't just a small, low-volume bounce. It's a real liquidity event, driven by both institutional short covering and retail inflows. The chart is showing that the stock has been able to hold its intraday gains so far, consolidating around key breakout zones rather than immediately collapsing. That's a sign the move still has legs, at least for now. But here's where things get interesting. When you combine new headlines with a pre-existing short squeeze setup, the narrative can shift very quickly. Yesterday, traders were buying Beyond Meat purely for the potential of a technical squeeze. Today, they can point to the Walmart deal and say, hey, there's actually something happening here. It doesn't mean the fundamentals have changed, but it creates enough psychological justification to keep buyers engaged a little longer. That's what you want to see in a sustained squeeze, not necessarily good fundamentals, but a believable reason for traders to stay in the trade. Still, let's be clear, the Walmart news isn't a game-changer by itself. It's a modest expansion, not a massive nationwide rebrand or new product launch. It's helpful for sentiment, but it doesn't fix Beyond Meat's core problems: declining demand, weak margins, and heavy debt. So while it adds some short-term oxygen to the fire, it's not the kind of catalyst that can sustain this move indefinitely. So what does that mean for traders right now? Well, in the short term, momentum is everything. As long as this stock continues to hold its intraday gains and volume stays high, the bulls are in control. If the stock breaks above its morning high and pushes toward that $2 range, we could see another quick surge as shorts scramble to cover. That $2 mark will be an important psychological barrier. A clean break above it could open the door to a run toward $250, but it'll need serious volume to get there. On the flip side, if we see profit-taking late in the session and the stock falls back below $1.50 or $1.40, that would suggest the squeeze is losing steam. Momentum-driven stocks like this rely on constant participation. The moment the enthusiasm fades, the reversal can be brutal. We've seen it time and time again with similar setups, a few great sessions, followed by a violent pullback once traders move on. The big question now is whether Beyond Meat can keep giving traders just enough reasons to stay. Because while a short squeeze can run on emotion for a while, it eventually needs narrative fuel to sustain itself. The Walmart update and ETF inclusion are helping for now, but if the company doesn't follow through with something more substantial, like improved guidance, a strategic partnership, or new funding, the rally could stall out quickly. That said, it's hard to ignore how powerful this setup has been so far. Beyond Meat is now the talk of the retail scene again. It's trending on social media, it's dominating watch lists, and it's bringing in new participants who weren't even looking at the stock a week ago. That kind of attention can keep price action elevated longer than most people expect. For those actively trading it, here are the key things to watch this afternoon and heading into the next session. Number 1. Volume consistency. If you see trading volume stay strong into the close, that's a sign that traders are holding their positions into tomorrow. Weak volume or a sudden fade late in the day would indicate that profit-taking has started. Number 2. Price consolidation. Right now, the stock is hovering near the upper end of its intraday range. If it can hold those levels and form a tight base before another push higher, that's a bullish sign. But if you start seeing sharp pullbacks followed by weak bounces, that means momentum is starting to unwind. Number 3. Social momentum. The online chatter has been a big part of this move. If the buzz stays strong overnight, if Beyond Meat keeps trending and the story stays fresh, then retail flow will likely continue tomorrow. But if attention shifts to another ticker or traders start calling the top, the narrative could flip quickly. And finally, number 4, company response. So far, Beyond Meat has been quiet. They haven't issued any new statements beyond the Walmart announcement. But if the company steps in and releases something positive, even a simple comment acknowledging the retail enthusiasm or reaffirming their business outlook, that could extend the rally further. Conversely, if they stay silent and traders start questioning the sustainability, sentiment could cool fast. So what's the takeaway from all of this? Beyond Meat's rally right now is a blend of retail enthusiasm, short covering mechanics, and a splash of corporate news that adds just enough legitimacy to keep the story alive. It's an incredibly powerful combination, but also a fragile one. In the near term, momentum remains firmly bullish. The setup is still strong, shorts are still exposed, and the headlines are helping to keep the fire burning. But the higher the stock climbs without a major fundamental shift, the more fragile that momentum becomes. For traders, that means opportunity, but it also means risk. If you're in the trade, take advantage of the momentum while it's there, but don't overstay your welcome. Use tight stops, scale out on strength, and remember that what goes up this fast can just as easily come down. Beyond Meat has once again become a symbol of retail power and market psychology. The company hasn't fixed its fundamentals, but that doesn't seem to matter, at least not this week. What matters is sentiment, and right now, sentiment is on fire. The Walmart news gives it a story. The ETF inclusion gives it exposure. And the short interest gives it fuel. It's the perfect storm, at least for now. The only question left is how long the fire can keep burning before gravity takes over. For the moment, Beyond Meat remains one of the most exciting and volatile plays on the market. The bulls are still in charge. But as we've seen before, momentum trades don't end quietly. Stay alert, stay disciplined, and watch closely as this squeeze story continues to unfold.